few months ago, Ken, K4 ZUT, opened his home to a group of us who are interested in doing experimental stuff like with Raspberry Pis and some of the available kit stuff that you can build nowadays. And over this past week there was this discussion went on in email where somebody brought up whether knowing some simple circuits like were used back in the vacuum tube era would help the students that were trying to learn basic electronics. And so I offered tonight to bring some stuff that dates back to the 1950s. I got my ham license over Christmas holidays in 1959, so that shows you how far back I went. We didn't have single sideband, we didn't have FM, and most of us, particularly those of us who were younger, I was in high school at the time, built our own equipment. So I wanted to show you some simple circuits. First of all, I have a website that a lot of you probably know about from reading the newsletter. It's called museumofyesterday.org. The URL is www.museumofyesterday.org. I've made available on that site, it's actually a virtual textbook of electronics that I basically wrote for anybody from high school to college level communications courses. One of the things that I've made available on it is some out of copyright textbooks and things. And we recently picked up a set of textbooks that are very well worth having. It's Hugo Gernsback's library from 1939 on it covers basic electricity, radio building, and some other related subjects. There's 10 volumes of it. I've made this available for download on my website. So you can go up there and you can download PDF copies of it. If you do that, I ask that you download them and open them, and don't open them across the internet, because I'm doing this from my home server. So it's, it ties up bandwidth if you try to open them. But this is actually a printout of all 10 editions. I mean, the things were so crumbly and old, I had to reproduce it to be able to show it to you. But this is 10 volumes, and one of the first volumes in here is called Building a Shortwave Set. Is by a guy by the name of Dorle, D-O-E-R-L-E. I had read these articles a while back, and didn't realize that I actually had something in my collection that was one of his radios, or something that was built off of his diagrams. And that's this little set right here. I'm going to leave this stuff up during break so y'all can come and examine it. But basically, this is a little two-tube radio that we use. It was something that would have been used by a novice or beginning ham back in the 1950s. One of the things in the 1950s that was really great is that you could go to most any mom and pop TV shop, which they had in every neighborhood in the country practically, and you could get old TV chassis, old radio chassis, pull the power transformers, the horizontal sweep tubes, and that's what a lot of us made our first transmitters out of. Now, when it comes to simple circuits, what we're talking about, this idea of having a simple circuit to show for the classes how electronics, basic electronic circuits work. This is a device called a Junior Technician Prep Kit. And what it was sold by RCA TV repairmen back when they made house calls. If the RCA TV repairman went to the house and the kid was dogging the TV repairman, wanting to know how the TV worked, they sold the parents one of these. It was a little breadboard grid leak detector, 1-tube radio with a 1T4, and it ran on a 45-volt battery. And you could put it together using binding posts. So this is the answer to the inquiry we had during the week about a simple circuit for a 1-tube radio. This is it. I mean, you can see it, in black and white right here. There was another book that was printed back in the 1930s in competition to the ARRL handbook. It was called Radio Handbook. It was written by a bunch of engineers from all over the country. They got together and wrote a book that was basically about ham radio, although it had some other fundamental things about electronics. I have an article here that came out of that book, and it is a circuit for a 1-tube, actually a 2-tube radio. And in a flea market not too long ago, I found a radio that had been built off of that same article. This is it right here. As you can see, it's got a little age on it, a little leathery. It was found in somebody's garage, but this is basically what people in 1930s and 1940s before the war would have used for a novice shortwave receiver. In 1939, the Thordarson Transformer Company came out with a novice transmitter that used a single 6L6 as an oscillator, an RF tube, and a Type 80 rectifier. This is one of them. I was able to find this and restore it. This thing actually puts out 30 watts CW. And last but not least, I have a couple of books to show you. This is the 1926 ARRL handbook. Notice the size of it. Well, in 1939, in 1939, this was the ARRL license manual. Compare that to the one just for extra class today. This covered novice, technician, and general.
And extra,
Didn't have extra. Yeah, extra and advanced came after this. So that's my little show and tell. You're all welcome to look at this, look at the articles, and please, if you get a chance, check out the website. You need about an hour to look at it in any depth. I mean, if you're interested in the thing, allow yourself at least an hour to look at it. And it's www.museumofyesterday.org. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Ken, I know you wanted to share a little bit.
Our radio builders group is doing pretty good. So far, we've had a few sessions. One of the first, I was just on